Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck. Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week's topic is self-publishing with money to spend. Before that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. My win, I get to say this first, is that we had a mastermind day today. And I feel like I say this so often, like the month goes so fast. So we have mastermind meeting once a month, and it's always just my favourite thing of the month. I love it, and I'm so tired because we do so much thinking, but it's the best thinking, like the big thinking, like really dreaming big and also making goals to get those dreams to become reality. So it always feels really good. So I'm like riding on that high at the moment. I also this week figured out time and can't explain it in any way that makes sense to anybody else but me. But effectively, I don't see time great. And this week, I saw it better than I've ever seen it before. So that just doesn't mean anything to anyone but me. I'm happy with that. I figured out time. I am a time scientist. I also, this could be a whinge, but I'm going to say this is a win, is that I had a problem, like an Act 2 stumble in the road. And I feel like I'm handling it well. So I had something happen, which initially my reaction was, oh no, everything's gone wrong, and then I chilled out and realized it's just an opportunity to learn, and I feel like I'm learning a good lesson. So I'm not going to say any whinges because I'm having a positive spin on something I wasn't expecting.
It's because I had the same experience this week of like, I tried something and I felt like it went really wrong. And actually what made it feel more positive was just being able to talk to you about it. So being able to know that I was going to see you today and not have to make the decision by myself. And I think this isn't true for everybody, but it's maybe true for people who are coming from a day job background. You get used to working as part of a team. And even when you're very decisive, it is really helpful to talk through things with somebody else and just say, I just want to get this out of my head and talk through it out loud. And so my thing, I'll talk in a little bit of detail. I am trying various different things to learn more about Facebook ads. And I had finally got a big trial going, and then nothing happened. And I was like, oh, I thought I was like on my way. I thought I was improving. I thought I was learning things, and just absolutely nothing happened. And I was like just spending money and getting no sales. And I was like, have I? I can't. What? That's how I felt, and I just felt really stuck in my initial reaction of like feeling really frustrated that I'd worked really hard to improve in something, and I felt like I was back to square one. But just being able to know that I was talking to you today, and to have like put my thoughts in order and then make a plan and show you what the issue was, and then say, this is what I think I should do, and you're like, yes, do that. Great. And actually almost immediately the situation just resolved itself and improved, and it just required that like little bit of confidence that it's not something disastrous I've done or misunderstood, like being able to just kind of get a little bit of an outside perspective on something. In the same way, like last week at work in my day job, somebody made quite a significant mistake, and like a mistake that absolutely anybody could have made, but like quite a significant mistake and a potentially very expensive mistake, and she was clearly incredibly panicked to tell me, and it's a project that the big boss of the company is involved in. So she was like, I don't know what to do, I feel really absolutely so stressed. And I was like, there's nothing, like it's very understandable, we will figure out a way to fix it. And it felt so nice to be the other person on the outside, being able to say, I know exactly how we're going to fix this. And it was just a good way to kind of to have that experience in my day job and to have this experience with you today was just a good reminder of like, we want to leave day jobs behind. It feels like it's not the best use of my time, which I could be spending on my writing business. But I have spent decades of my life building up like the processes and the way that I think through things and improve things there, that I need to make sure that I'm not just dropping. And outside of my working life, I'm not just saying, oh, I'll just sit and panic by myself and feel bad. No, I know I need to have like a little mini catch up in a meeting with somebody and a colleague that I can just go to and say, I think I've totally messed up. I don't know what I've done, but I've done something wrong. And to have them
Yeah.
say, no, it's this, let's have a look at it together. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, absolute win today in terms of just being able to do that with somebody, even though the actual situation itself was not what I wanted, but it's fine. It will
Yeah.
resolve itself. So yeah, and I would say our mastermind today is also my big win. We were talking really big long-term things, and making big plans and big goals in a way that felt realistic and achievable and exciting. And I've also been doing that in my own writing. So we've both been, in fact, doing our scheduling this week. We both have the same gigantic wall planner that we, by coincidence, got out on the same day and sent each other pictures of. Like, oh, I'm also working on that today. And I have made my schedule for the rest of the year. It's in pencil after the next couple of months because it sort of relies on some projects that I can't control how long they take, or I don't know yet enough about them to know how long they're going to take. So I've put some things in pencil, and I'm trying to do something a little bit different with my scheduling, and just an experiment to see if it's going to work. And that feels so exciting. That feels like, I'm anticipating problems and I want to encounter problems so I know how to deal with them. So
Yeah.
yes, lots of wins this week. And it's interesting, like they're wins, but they're not, sunshine and like bunnies wins. They're like, oh, wins from becoming better at my business, which
Yeah.
is going to involve some like difficulties, but great.
Yeah, exactly. The win is the mental win that you didn't let something destroy you. Like you didn't
Hmm.
let something like completely knock you to one side, which a year ago would have felt
Hmm.
so much worse, so much of a bigger problem. Yeah, I'm proud of both of us this week. We did so good. So we are on the topic of the week, and last week we talked about how to self-publish when you're on a tight budget. This week we're flipping the script. We're talking about the absolute opposite, where we get to spend money. So what would our dream purchases be if we actually had the funds?
Hmm. So this is, I think, topic that it sort of sounds counterintuitive. Like, oh, if you had money, like, of course I would be able to spend it on my publishing business. But I do have money. I have savings, and I have savings that I'm kind of putting towards a future plan to support myself, in my first year of kind of becoming a full-time author or cutting down my work. Uh, but I could spend it, and I do need to spend it on building up my business so I can do that. And it just feels like I can't spend it because it's my savings, and once I spend it, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of stuck in not feeling confident enough in my like purchase decisions to spend money in a deliberate way. So
Mm-hmm.
I will spend money kind of, and we've talked about this before, in that like I have a salary that means that I can kind of buy a cover as it comes up, as the need comes up, without having to think I'm budgeting a few months ahead to get that.
Mm-hmm.
I have the savings that I can buy a cover. I bought a cover this month, and put some money into editing without necessarily having to um, really plan a long time ahead for that. So it just sort of means that I'm not used to making deliberate decisions about my business, and deciding to put a lot of money into ads is a deliberate decision, or it should be a deliberate decision. And in definitely the past it hasn't been. It has been like, I won't look. I just won't think about it, and I'll turn on some ads, and then I will, when I feel scared about the money, I'll turn them off and I'll run away.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I wanted to think today about kind of, can we get a bit more confident with purposeful decision making? And we said last week we wanted to think about if we were going to spend 5 grand, which is
Mm-hmm.
like, or in a sort of book launchy phase, but also in terms of other things as well around that, which
Mm-hmm.
is, it feels like an amount of money that feels uncomfortable to just decide to spend, but it also feels like not a crazy amount of money. And to many authors who are doing big numbers will feel like well, that's my ad budget for a week,
Mm-hmm.
or less time. I don't want to think
Yeah.
about that.
No.
Yeah, so I think it's a good amount of money. I think when I was thinking about this, what was interesting was we talked last week about what we think are the essentials. So in terms of the budget for covers and editing, I don't think I would spend any more on those things. But
No.
that's from me. So I
Yeah.
feel really comfortable, like we talked about last week, I feel comfortable with my editing skills. I purchase the editing I need to support that. I'm not making any economic decision around editing. I'm not deciding to choose a cheap one or expensive one. I chose the editing that I needed. And the thing that I like actually most about the company that I use is their scheduling. Like their scheduling works for me, and their style works for me in terms of it's a small agency and you have some consistency, but you don't have to um you know communicate too much with one-on-one person who's doing the editing. So I chose them on that basis. And the same for my covers. I think my covers are incredibly good value for what they are. I would pay more for them. So if my cover designer decided, they were going to increase their prices, I would pay more for them. But I don't have to right now. It makes me more confident to purchase covers. So I've bought a cover, for example, for the prequel for my book series, and I've also got books 1 through 4 covers purchased already and made, even though I'm about to release book 1 in a few days. So that is a positive thing. So that I definitely think is maybe something for me that I can, if I have more money, I will buy a series of covers to partly like to put books on pre-order and to have them be able to advertise them and put them out there. So that is maybe a purchase I would spend more on. But it doesn't feel like an extravagant purchase because I will need to buy them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of doesn't feel like a big decision. You were nodding your head. Would you say the same about editing and covers?
Yes, I like how much I spend on my covers. I would pay more if she needed more money and we were going a little bit more. Well, yeah, I would pay more because I do love the covers that I've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the idea of getting a really expensive cover. When you see people doing really
Mm-hmm.
amazing designs with a hand drawing illustrations and especially for fantasy books,
Mm-hmm.
very intricate covers that are out there. And I do love the idea of one day having an amazingly intricate cover,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't. I it just feels like I wouldn't want to get into the habit of doing that and then have people expect that every time. So what I would like to do, if I
Mm-hmm.
had the money, is I would love to do like special edition covers or
Mm-hmm.
special edition box sets where I did like whole hog new covers, box set designs, sprayed edges, book box things, packaged
Mm-hmm.
up in a particular way. That's
Would you do
definitely,
that for a new release, or would you do that for like a completed series? You do a big box, special
yeah,
edition
a completed
Kickstarter release.
series. Yeah, and that's something that I have been thinking about when I've been thinking about time and winning time and understanding how the world works. Is that I think that me at some point in the future, and like not too far future, but at some point in the near future, doing completed series box sets is definitely on the horizon. And yeah, if I had the money right now, if I had like £5,000 to spend, that would be probably one of the first things that I chose to do with that money, would be to reward myself with this
Mm-hmm.
amazing product built
It's not
from.
yourself. Like it's in your genre something that can earn money. So like
Yes,
in
yeah.
Crazy Mysteries, does anybody do special editions? Not that I can really think of, which is
Yeah.
interesting because I like cozy fantasy books have those sprayed spines with like the sprayed edges with
Oh,
cute little teacups and like little
I
dragons and things. I
love
think
spread edges. I'm
yeah, I
such a
always like
sucker
that sprayed.
for it. Yeah.
How
Yes,
do you feel about the
love.
word spread?
No, no.
No, me either.
Take that away. Never say that again. Delete that. Remove it from the
But
podcast.
I don't think I would. It'd be so hard on my list in terms of like I don't think I would. You would have to do so much more in terms of marketing for I think a crazy
Mm-hmm.
mystery because it's not a big expectation in the genre. There's not an
Yeah.
existing like hungry market for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something that I would do for fantasy. Um, yeah, and I think that it just seems like it's such an exciting thing to do. And if I had the money, I'd be playing that right now if I had the
Hmm.
money. So that's on my list. I also would, if I had £5,000, hire a PA.
Yeah, I think I would spend some of the money the same way.
Mhm,
Um, just in terms of things like it gives you a chance to kind of expand on things that are very time consuming. So I might hire someone to do a period of socials for me
mhm,
or to prep some newsletter, like just even setting up campaigns and like putting in some basic templates and stuff for a while in the future.
mhm.
Um, yeah, things like that. I think that would be worth it for me
Yeah,
where I am now.
yeah, I would love that. I'd just like to have somebody else to take a little bit of the load off my shoulders,
Mm,
and make me feel like I wasn't literally working two full-time jobs at once.
yeah, I'm so tired
Because
at the
that's the
moment.
reality. Um,
Yeah.
that would be so nice. I constantly am telling my boyfriend that when I'm making enough money to
Mhm.
pay him, he will become my PA. That's his future.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to look forward to. And I think he can't wait.
I just don't know how much value an imaginary PA is going to be.
If it helps me feel better, it's fine. He's not imaginary, he's real. I promise.
Okay. I mean,
Mhm.
I believe you. Millions wouldn't,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
mhm,
He exists somewhere. Hey, if I can imagine things, I think that it means they exist somewhere in one of the
mhm.
many worlds. He's real. I would love things like, I think I said character art. One of my huge dreams, and this is a real money. Not, I was gonna say money drain. That's a terrible way to put it. But a big project that would cost a lot of money. I would love to do a graphic novel with someone. Um,
Mm,
and
mhm.
that would be an expensive project, and I would put that kind of money towards that.
Yeah, I saw Maggie Stiefvater doing one at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that does just look so fun, like just reimagining
Oh,
work in a different way. And
yeah,
she had a post that was about like her notes to the artist, like, and it was
yeah.
just such interesting ways like look at your work and reevaluate how you want to present it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that should be on the list
That
to
has
pursue.
always been on my
Yeah.
list because one of my previous series, I always wanted it to be a graphic novel, and then I
Hmm.
just wrote the kind of like novellas instead, some of the novellas. But it is actually on my list to rework into a full series, and then hopefully a graphic novel.
I mean, we
But
were just looking before this podcast at your like weirdly incredible character art that you can do. Can you not make your own graphic novel?
I think that I could. But
Hmm.
if I had 5 grand, I'd rather pay someone else to do it.
Mm, hmm.
I just want, because I like
I mean,
working with
it's
other
such a scale,
people.
like it's such a particular style of writing, right? It's not the
Yeah,
same as just like pictures with a book.
yeah, it's not the same. It'd be so much easier to have somebody else who had experience with it rather than me
Hmm.
just trying to make one and having to learn a new skill.
Hmm.
I would like to rely on somebody who already understood the
Hmm.
the whole process. Because as much as I read graphic novels, when I see
Hmm.
in a lot of this is such a tangent. In a lot of graphic novels that I buy, there's always pages in the back which show you like the script and then the development of the script,
Wow.
and it's really
Yeah.
interesting. And I love reading them and seeing how they turn the story into the
Mm,
panels. But it's like my brain is like, this is magic.
hmm.
This is magic that I don't understand. And I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, but it's like looking at something in a different language. Like, yeah, it seems great,
Hmm.
but I can't fathom that. So never,
Yeah.
like somebody else can do it. But I would love that. That's a 5 grand
Yeah.
spend for me.
This is your 5 grand is going very far. You've
I
got
know this is
PA.
like, this isn't all like all of it at the same time. This is like
Hmm.
specific. Like I would do this with 5 grand, or if I didn't do that, I'd do this with five
Hmm.
grand. So
Hmm.
I didn't really break it down into a full on 5 grand spend. It was just more
If you're
pie
the
in the
sort of person who's
sky.
got 5 grand to spend, yeah, this is the
Yeah.
sorts of things you spend money on. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, did you have other things on your list?
That's basically it.
Hmm. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like that's like all things that are very fantasy specific that
Hmm.
really, tie into furthering the business in your genre. And
Yeah.
I have got none of those things on my list.
No,
Yeah,
I knew that we would have completely different lists, so I thought I'd just go
yeah,
full on YA fantasy. But I
yeah.
don't want to get into the nitty gritty of actual publishing. It's just like dream projects.
Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, I think I would have some form of PA help
Mm.
if I were more flush and wanting to like invest money. I guess not even invest money in my business. I wanted to literally spend money on my business to like grow it faster, because it's not the same sort of investment as like I'm putting money directly into ads. It's putting money into the business to free me my time up to spend more time. So it's a very long term investment, I guess. Um, but I think I am. I would like to learn that skill as well. I think I'm not wildly good at delegating. And in my day job, I've been very used to working with people, the same people for a long time. I've been at the same company for a long time. So the idea of having to train somebody up, um, I've had people that I've had to train up, and I don't relish the frustration of that potentially not being easy or good. And it would also be that I would have to like get a lot of my processes really, really smoothed out and like articulated very well in order to pass them on. Which is the worst thing to say, is that I'm too busy to do that right now, which is like, that's terrible.
I'm really good at that. One of my
Yeah.
best qualities at work is training notes. I'm so good at writing training notes, and I
Mm,
love telling other people how to do things. I'm like, I'm not going to do this, but I'll write you a step-by-step guide on how to do it, and you never darken my
mm.
doorstep again.
Yeah, I mean, I like a screen share, like a video for training notes.
Hmm.
Um, and then I guess you could get that transcribed by AI and put it into notes. Yes, you could do it quite easily. Yeah, interestingly, I was chatting to a very, very old like university friend who now works in venture capital, which makes me sound a lot more exciting than I really am. But she does a sort of a tangential job in a venture capital company. It's not her actual background. And I was saying, what's the biggest obstacle that companies like makes them fall apart when they're like new but could be successful companies? And she said like always is hiring help too late. So you should hire help before you think you need it. Um, and really that process of like having to hand off small tasks, you don't want to, when you're, you know, pushing towards six-figure business, you don't want to still be like resizing photos for your
Hmm.
newsletter. Like now I
Oh
say
my
that
god,
sounds so ridiculous.
it's
Like,
the
because I
worst thing.
email with MailerLite and they have like a 2 megabyte limit. So every time I collect
Hmm.
my photographs into a folder, I go onto like compressed JPEG, resize them all, download them one by one, put them in another folder, upload them to MailerLite. It's like, that is a joke that I spend time doing that. And if I were, yeah, even slightly further along my business, I don't want to still be doing that.
Hmm.
So I think I'm going to put that on my list for this year, actually. This
Hmm.
year, I want to try and hand a thing off to someone else. And it can be a tiny thing, such as just like, I also have another really small but incredibly tedious task, which is I recommend a book in every newsletter of the weekly ones that I send out. And to do that, I have to do like a really convoluted process of like getting the image, putting the links in my newsletter, putting the links into my website so they redirect for the affiliate codes. Like, it's not a lot of work, but it's the same work over and over again, and it's just pointless. Or like managing my art team, things like that. So these are all
Hmm.
things that I think you could easily train someone to do. A lot of the kind of hesitation around that is obviously you also have to give people access to all of your accounts. So it can't be just like someone that you hire that you don't know. So it just feels like it's a big emotional and logistical decision to do. But if I don't make a step in that direction, I am going to regret it later on. So yes, that is what I will do this year in some capacity.
Yeah.
That feels very,
Do you think you'd
that feels like a
go
good
virtual?
decision.
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah.
you'd go virtual PA, or do you think you'd go for somebody local, or like somebody that you would be able to meet up with and physically hand over work and have meetings with? What
Yeah.
What
I
would
mean,
your
you know, my
preference
dream is to
be?
have a housekeeper.
Yes.
Which, like, for anyone who hasn't ever been to my house, it's a ludicrous. I live by myself, and I have like 3 rooms in my house. Genuinely, like, my house is a 3-story house with 1 room on each floor. So if I had a housekeeper, we'd be under each other's feet all the time. But in the ideal world, I would buy the house next door, and the housekeeper would live there, and they would come over and just do all of my cooking and cleaning, and like take all my parcels to the
Same.
post office, and just just be helpful. And yeah, I can see you laughing. I just don't want to deal with those things. They're beneath me, and I don't enjoy them. Um,
Why does he have to live
yeah, and
next
I don't want to
door?
have to. But yeah, next door, so we've got like
Okay.
I can be like, okay, I would like to be alone right now. Yeah,
Leave.
because yeah, but they're close enough that if I had an emergency, I could call them in. They sort it out for me. I want like Mrs. like Miss Lemon, right? Miss Lemon in Sherlock. She like lives just in nearby,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah. Okay.
in the house. So that's my ideal. Anyway, so because I don't because I've been by myself and there's only me and my cats, I don't actually have the much more of a housekeeper to do. So the ideal housekeeper would also be my PA. So that's the dream future,
Okay.
but I'm not near that yet.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think most people have a VA, right?
Hmm.
Of some sort. People I think who have PAs, it tends to be a friend or like some sort of very, relative
Hmm.
who does something for them on a part-time basis. I live in a very artistic community, so I live somewhere where lots of people are writers or they are kind of cobbling various different jobs around an artist's career. So I probably could find somebody locally who would be uh, the right sort of person
Hmm.
to bring onto that. So possibly, but then I'm not sure what I would benefit from them being physically close, apart from them in the future being my housekeeper.
Yeah.
Um, I
Like
think of
say, telling them that at some point, like when the house next door comes on the market, I'll send you the link, and they'd be like, "Oh,
no,
okay."
I would buy it. I would buy it for my housekeeper. I'm not a
Oh,
monster.
okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So when the
Yeah,
house comes down on
no,
the
because the
market
house
next
next
door,
door is owned by my
pack your
nemesis, so that
bags.
would
Yeah.
also that would
Yeah.
kill two birds with one stone. So my nemesis
Yeah.
owns the house next door to me and the house underneath me. So at some point in the future, I would like to own both of those.
Okay. It
Um,
sounds
and my
like a
nemesis not
recipe
to
for a
own.
murder.
Yeah, that's how I like to make my life work. I like all
Yeah.
things to have potential murder mysteries in them.
Hmm.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. But if my nemesis ever goes missing, don't say a word. It wasn't me.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Anyway, we've got sidetracked. So, but that
Yeah.
is just one, as I think I would like to have. And I hadn't really thought about that. I hadn't let myself or forced myself to think about that
Hmm.
until now. But I definitely would like it. And it might even be that it's not necessarily someone to do like a traditional VA. It might be that I want to get someone to spend a bit of time handling my ads so I can kind of figure out some things with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think something I want to try and hand over something this year to make sure that
Hmm.
I am moving towards doing that long term,
Yeah.
at least making educated decisions around that. Um, and then, yeah, I think other place I would spend my money would be ads. That would be my big spend, and that relies on having a series that responds well to advertising. So already being quite far into your at least understanding of self-publishing, that might be a first series. It's unlikely to be a first series. I think I have tried advertising other series in the past and just really some of it is like my lack of understanding of like how the ads platforms work. Some of it was like my lack of understanding of quite how to present the book. So things like when people would say like you're going to have a good cover and a good blurb, I'd be like, well, I think they are, so I don't know what to do
Hmm.
now. And now I think now I've got ads that do convert on a book, and I can see something different about like the cover and the blurb and the packaging in general. So part of it is just like getting more experience and further along in your career, and it's and now it feels worth understanding advertising to make that worthwhile. Um, yeah, and I think there is, especially if you're in a kind of busier genre or a more popular genre, so cozy is a big, very competitive genre to be at the top of. And you don't have to be at the top of it to be making money because it's such a popular genre. So you don't have to be number one in cozies to be making lots of money. But if you are consistently in the top, you are making good money. So that's kind of a good way to think about your aims. Um, I think if I had, I'm going to say if I have money, and in fact I have a specific pot of money that I have acquired this year that is extra money that I am deciding is like that is my investment in self-publishing.
Yeah.
Um, I am going to invest that in ads. A, to learn about the ads platform. So to do that thing that they say you should do, we actually learn about it. And you're not just thinking, yes, but how? I actually
Hmm.
feel like I am learning about it now. I'm following Nicholas Eric, which I'll put a link in the show notes about the course I'm doing. He's got such good free content. But it wouldn't have been the right thing for me before now, just because it requires you to feel confident enough to try lots of complicated things at once, and to know how to do that. Even so, like I didn't go straight in with like the full complicated, you know, all bells and whistles experiment. I pulled out parts of the experiment I felt less confident with, not the experiment, his method. I pulled out parts of it I felt less confident with and just trialed those so I could understand how they work, and then I've put them all together to run the first like proper test. And I wouldn't have really been able to do that before now. I didn't have enough understanding of how things worked. I didn't understand what was going wrong when things were going wrong. And I think now I feel more confident that I can at least have a good guess at what it is. I don't feel like I know everything at all, but I now have a better idea of what I don't know. So I
Yeah.
feel capable of doing that.
If you're looking at results and things and you are completely at a loss, like you couldn't even fathom what could have gone wrong, then that's like an awful stage to be at. But if you can look at results and at least come up with a couple of theories, then
and then test those theories.
Then that is a fantastic place to be. And like today when you were talking about the ads that you're running and like having questions about them, all you needed to do was say all of your thoughts out loud for you to realize that actually you did know. You did have theories, and you could, because you said like, I don't know if this doesn't work, then I just don't know. But then actually, like 5 seconds later, you did know.
I think I'm so used to being in that position of just like, I just don't know. And that as soon as something wobbles away from my expected result, I think, oh, I just want to throw my hands up in the air and be like, well, I guess I didn't understand it at all, but it's actually not true with this. Or at least I know there are things I can test to see if I know what I have done or what I can do differently. So now it feels like it's worth investing money in the ads in a way that I don't, if I've got a pot of money to invest at my stage of my career right now, and this is a pot of money that is like, I'm counting it as in my head sort of free money, right? It's money that I is separate from my regular savings. I am earning it, but it is not from my regular job. So, and that sounds very cryptic. I'm not a hitman. I will talk about this soon. This is like my secret side project.
I wasn't going with hitman.
I know, but my mind was goes to murder. But I feel like I'm being very evasive about where this money's coming from. We were talking about Pretty Woman earlier as well. I have not, and there's nothing illegal going on. So I've got a lot of money that doesn't feel the same as my regular salary, which like I feel like I can feel every like minute I've spent in long meetings. I can feel every email that I have replied to with like see previous email when I think about the money I've earned from my day job, and it doesn't feel like I want to like spend that in places where I might not get it back. Whereas this other pot of money that I'm getting this year from some other work,
a little fun
that
bonus.
feels like it feels like I have been given this specifically to invest in a way that I want to, and I'm going to invest it in ads with the goal not necessarily of making the money back straight away, because I don't have to, because it is like a bonus money. So I want to spend it on kind of two things. One is learning how the ads platform work, because there's no point just like dipping my toe in constantly and then taking some results and then be like, well, my toe's a bit wet. I'll just go and dry off, and then I'll wait till it's a bit warmer and I'll come back. So I want to really spend the money on understanding it, and then B, I want to invest the money in building readership and building like a future for the book series, so that even if I don't make any profit on my ads right now, that's absolutely fine for me, because I know I've already got this series planned out for the next few books anyway, and I want to make an attempt at making a profit long term on the series, which isn't a position that everyone is in at all, and isn't necessarily a position I would take on my next series. This is just, I want to try this with this series, and I have no reason to not spend this money. The only reason not to spend it is because I'm scared, and I'm not scared.
No, you're not scared. Yes, you are brave.
I'm a bit scared. I'm a bit scared.
I had, when I was thinking about this topic, and I said this earlier in Mastermind meeting, my initial thought was, if somebody gave me $5,000 to spend, I would try and save as much of it as possible. I'd be like, I'd spend some of it, but then I'd always think, oh, if I could hold like £200-300 back, and then I'd have like this little bit of extra money just in case. Because I don't like the idea of just spending something and it's gone. But at the same time, if you're given free money in this imaginary world that I'm living in, if somebody gave me $5,000, why would I not spend every single penny of it? Because it was never mine to begin with. And it would potentially turn into more money. It's the whole like £5 turning into £10. It could potentially grow.
Mm-hmm.
into something else at some point along the way. So it's just silly to be like, oh, I'll hold some back just in case. Like, no, just spend it. That's like I'm still in that hesitation, that's the word. I'm still in
Mm-hmm.
that hesitation mode when it comes to spending. And I've come a long way, but I definitely am still like, oh.
I think there's a benefit to hesitating, right? Like I know there's like the concept like money blocks, and we don't want to, more money does come. Like I've always experienced this, more money comes, but that's coming from a position of enormous privilege of like, I
Yeah.
have a very well paid day job. I have family that if I needed the money for some reason, I would be able to ask them for help. That there is no situation where I would be threatened or in
Yeah.
danger of not having things that I need. And that, but like, I should be using that as a strength. Like everyone has different strengths. Some people have really, partners who are marketing gurus. Some people have backgrounds in, all sorts of different skills like project management that you might need for this business. My personal like privilege is that I do not need to be scared of like running out of money.
Yeah.
And so why not use that? I'm hiding from that, like that benefit I have. When no one wins like that, no one wins, and I don't win. So why not just say I'm going to spend it? I say this like I've had savings for several years that I've not spent because it felt like I didn't feel confident that I was going to spend it well.
Right.
And now I do. I feel like right now I'm in a very different position to where I've been previously. And B, it actually feels very different to be spending this kind of like extra bonus money that is not my savings, that is not my salary that I have to earn from, you know, meetings, meetings and emails, which is most of my job, which are not terrible, right? They're not awful things, but like I feel every hour I've earned them. Whereas with money that comes from other sources, it's like, oh, that's mine. That's just for me to spend how I want, and I'm going to spend it on
Yeah.
my business,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
Yeah.
And then
Because
just in terms of what I would spend it on, so I did say ads.
oh yeah.
100% I would spend the money I spent again on NetGalley. So I use the Victory Co-op, Victory Editing Co-op, which I'll put in the
Yeah.
show notes as well.
That is on my list. Arcs on all platforms.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's so beneficial and such good value. I even sort of I don't know if I should use it again for my books 2 and 3. I hadn't really thought about that. I'm very bookworm focused, so I think are having an episode coming up where we'll kind of think about things like that. So I will ponder it before then, because it's not expensive and it has worked well. So yes, potentially I should be doing that. So we'll definitely do that again. I also, one thing I've invested in for this launch is a Goodreads giveaway, which I've got no idea if it's ever gonna like if it has any impact at all. I think it's not cheap, but it's also not expensive. It's untrackable, so there's no way to know what the benefit of it is. The way it works, though, in the way that you might hope it's useful, is that when people enter the giveaway, uh, they have to they have to shelf a book on their like to read list, and then they get an announcement when it launches, and that announcement goes up to their feed of like whoever's in there, whoever follows them Goodreads, and then you're also giving away copies to people who will hopefully read it and love it and review it. But they're people who might not read in your genre; they might actually never read it. They might just want free books. So but you have to pay for those books. You're not losing anything. I think it's if I've got £5, that it's a relatively small portion of that, so worth trying to move a lever in some way.
Yeah.
I think I might also pay one thing that I've been not thinking about doing, but I've heard good things about recently is like getting people to pull out your hooks for TikToks. So I might do something like that as well, but it's not top of mind right now, just because it's not a big priority for me. But I think I would spend money on something like that, where again it's like a small enough money that it's sort of an experiment for you, and you're not, but you can't trace it necessarily. But it's something like adding a bit of diversity to your plans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like a good list of some really like high concepty stuff and some very like basic businessy things that we would all love to spend more money on. Yeah, I think that like the whole, like somebody pulling quotes from your book is like absolutely. I would love to spend money on that. Somebody
Mhm.
else do it.
I mean, I used Notebook 11 to pull some like quotes out, just quick quotes, and that was really
Yeah.
useful. It was quite useful. I I found it. I got more useful quotes though when I was just going to it myself and editing and like being more conscious of the quotes that I needed. But it was a good place to start. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, apparently you can find services that will like read your book and find hooks in it more than quotes,
Mm-hmm.
which just feels like a skill I don't have. So, or a skill I could hone, but don't. It's not top of my list right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. Okay. Do you have anything else you would like to say on this, or do you think we are done?
No, I think that it was useful to talk through and kind of brought up a few things that I was quitting off thinking
Mm-hmm.
about.
Yeah.
So yes. Next week we're talking about another thing that I've also put off thinking about. So it'll be very useful. I have got a launch on Wednesday, and it is very easy when you have a launch. Just be like, okay, tick, the book's done. Next one. Especially because I am rapidly releasing. I'm doing 3 books in 3 months. So next week we're talking about post-launch marketing. Do you have
Mm.
initial thoughts on what that is and how to do it?
I'm always thinking about post-launch marketing, and
Okay,
but not doing anything. Yeah, like no, but not in a good way. Just thinking like
I should do
how
that.
do I yeah like how do I do this better? I
Mhm.
know that there are definitely things that I'm missing out on. I I also know that I have done a few post-launch things that really helped me out. So I'm excited to like bring that to the table next week.
Mhm.
Um,
I think one way we should think about this is because we write in different genres, you write in a genre where you're aiming towards a complete series,
mhm,
and I write in a genre where essentially you just have open-ended series and just keep going. And I think
yeah,
there's probably different aspects of post-launch marketing for those and
yeah.
how to plan for them.
Mhm.
Not overall, but I think there are some aspects that are different. So I think we should make sure we're
Yeah,
highlighting those as well.
yeah. But yeah, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that I could talk about right now. But I am looking forward to thinking about it all this week and trying to figure out
Hmm.
how to articulate the panic of post-launch marketing.
Yes.
Oh.
We will be hopping in the Discord as well. So once this is out, we will have our question of the week, which should be it's going to be around this topic we talk about all day, which will be
Mhm,
about how you would, if you had a good chunk of money, how you would spend it in your publishing business, how you would invest it in your publishing business.
mhm.
Yes, Discord is still going fantastically. The link is in the show notes. Our Pen to Paycheck Discord. It is a great little community of people who are uh, asking and answering each other's questions, giving a bit of support and advice. We were talking today about new things we're going to be doing with the Discord to make sure it is
Mhm.
giving everyone lots of support. So do hop in there and come and introduce yourselves and ask any questions you want to in there. We look forward
Yes.
to seeing you, and we also look forward to you listening more in future and hopefully hearing from you then. And we will speak
Mhm.
next week. Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.